Good morning and welcome into the number one Group of Five college football podcast of all time. This is the Group of Five guys, and our mission is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs, the voice that the mainstream sports media absolutely will not be, and we need your help. We need you to go to all the social media platforms at Group of Five guys, hit the follow button, like button, share button. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your best podcasts. Subscribe to the channel, leave a 5-star rating and a review, and tell your family and friends all about the show. Or you can download the Varsity app for free, listen to the show on there, or you can go to group5guys.com and get you some Group of Five Guys merch. On this episode, supposed to be a down week in college football, turned out to be an all-time chaotic weekend. We're going to talk about all of those games. We're going to talk about Ashton Jeanty now being the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman. We're going to talk about that and talk about the fans that don't agree with that premise. And there will be plenty more. Hope you enjoy the show. Have you had it from somebody born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana, at a tailgate? Doubt it.
I said Michael Pratt has got to show up and play, and boy did he. 394 yards, 4 touchdowns, 48 rushing yards on the ground, and another touchdown.
Projected getting drafted between the first and third round. That's incredible. The wide receivers are absolutely stacked for the Group of Five.
Yeah, I really appreciate you do for the Group of Five programs, and I think it's great. I think we should get more of this, but you guys are on the forefront of this. And
I'm thankful for this. I'm glad that you're talking about the Group of Five because I think they get overlooked.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
Jeff, I'll tell you what, we got to get Devin on speed dial, and I'm going to need a bulk order of Deca Gray coffee, and I may need him to up the dose just a notch because your boy didn't have any Deca Gray coffee over the weekend, and I am having a tough time this morning, but I got a full cup, black Deca Gray coffee. This is the Nebula roast I'm on today, but guys, if you haven't heard, we have partnered with Deca Gray Coffee Company for this season. Make sure you visit their website, decagray.com. Get you the Group of Five Guys Game Day Dark Roast, custom blend made just for us, and everything on there is roast to order. So make sure you check out decagray.com. Use our promo code GOFG, 10% off and free shipping. It's really, really good stuff. Now, Jeff, we had a wild weekend, didn't we?
Sure did. Love it. October surprise. They were calling for it. Who knew it was going to be about college football, that October surprise?
Yeah, well, and I know everybody knows about it by now, but one of the biggest upsets really in our lifetime that everybody got to witness, and that is Louisiana Monroe beating James Madison.
No doubt about it.
I mean, unbelievable upset. Really, Monroe inserting themselves in this Sun Belt race. I mean, there's no denying it at this point. They continue to win, and what Bryant Vincent has done this year has just been really nothing short of amazing. And I need to see, they play at home again this weekend, and I need to see the people of Monroe support this team that is winning. And so I need to see that, but I'm sort of kidding about that was a big time upset.
Huge.
But of course the Vanderbilt Commodores beating Alabama. I mean, it was.
You mean New Mexico State?
Yeah, well, I mean, all the players that weren't good when Liberty beat them twice, and the coaching staff and the offense that wasn't good when Liberty beat them twice. But now, Jeff, I don't know if you noticed, but they have a new patch on their chest.
It makes all the difference.
Makes all the difference. Shout out Diego Pavia, man. Good for him.
That guy, yeah, he is now a legend at 2 universities at 2 different parts of the country.
Well, he won the Iron Bowl.
He has.
Beat Auburn, beat Alabama. It's a hell of a resume, young man.
Well, no, and you know, we talk about that because I do want to get into this because now Ashton Jeanty has become the Vegas Heisman favorite. Which at this point I don't see how he's not. The guy's going to break Barry Sanders' record. Like, this is not a good season. This is not a great season. This is a never been done before season. And you know, I read through all the posts on Instagram and the comments on Twitter about the competition level. And it just, man, we say these people are delusional a lot. But man, when they get to commenting and get on their high horse about this stuff, it is like my blood boils. That's why I stayed up late last night. I was up on Twitter, just had the Twitter fingers just popping off on these people because they're saying, yeah, Ashton Jeanty through 5 games hasn't played anybody. Mark Ingram, he played a top 10 schedule. Really? The only 2 SEC teams he played in his first 5 was Kentucky and Arkansas. Last time I checked, aren't at the top of the food chain. They had FIU, North Texas, Middle Tennessee on these schedules. Looked an awful lot like one of our schedules, Jeff.
No doubt.
But it got and it just, there's so many other things they don't watch. That's the point here. Is none of these people actually watch, and they don't know who's good unless Kirk Herbstreit tells them they're good. And you know, they're finally talking about a Mountain West player, and they're talking about Boise State, and that's the other thing. Like, again, we've talked about this before. Boise State, of all the group of 5 teams, is like the one that you have. There's no way you can argue about they don't play anybody. It's this schedule, that schedule. That's a program that has done it for 20 plus years. It's not an upset when they beat a Power 5. It's a good game when anytime they play anybody, everybody knows that Boise State could beat them. And that's why what are they up to 17 in the poll right now? So
that's what's so frustrating.
Ashton Jeanty.
Yeah. That's what's so frustrating about it is you have these people commenting and they literally have not watched, other than maybe a highlight reel, like they have not watched a full game this year of Ashton Jeanty. And that's what you got to do. You got to look at this guy's runs. I mean, his balance and his strength, like he is a rare breed of speed, strength, balance, vision. He can catch. You know, he was a converted receiver. Like, the dude can do it all. He can block. He is a 3-down back, and you're going to see him playing on Sundays. And I hope he gets what he deserves and winning the Heisman. If this type of production continues, especially if they end up getting the college football playoff nod, like, he's going to do some damage. Just wait and watch this guy. He is going to be a phenomenal player in the NFL when he gets that opportunity. But just go and watch a full game of this guy. You would want him on your team. I guarantee it. He's the best running back in the country, bar none. Honestly, after watching the late night until I went to bed and they got screwed, Cam Ward, who's the other Heisman favorite, not sold on that guy. Not at all, Sprouse. So I don't really know who else. Who's the kid from Colorado?
Yeah, Travis Hunter.
It's impressive. You play both ways, a lot of snaps. Again, got to see how the rest of the season goes. I don't think Colorado's going to be in it down the stretch in the Big 12. So if they're not, if Boise ends up winning and getting that playoff spot, I don't see how you don't give it to Ashton Jeanty.
Well, you know, you brought up some of these other guys, and you can tell in the media the narrative that they're trying to push, and I give them credit. They're pushing Ashton Jeanty quite a bit, but you know, if that was the year 2004, Jeff, that Miami Cal game, me and you would have been having a damn trash talking. I mean, now, you know, I was of course at the old gated private membership only island that I spent the last few days at, enjoying myself. And so they didn't have proper cable TV, but I watched quite a bit of games. But I thought it was funny because I was watching that Miami Cal game, and I've told everybody before, everybody knows I grew up a Miami fan. So, hey, look, Miami's playing Cal. I'm rooting for Miami. No questions asked. But everybody back home has been telling me, they finally got the quarterback. This Cam Ward guy is the real deal. And this is the first Miami game this season that I've sat and watched. And I'm watching that game, and I'm sitting there with this other guy that we're at the beach with. I said, buddy, I don't like this kid at all. Not only do I not think he's a Heisman contender, I was like, I don't even think he's very good. But the narrative, the reason I bring this up, the narrative that they're pushing during the game was I think Reese Davis was on that call, who, by the way, sounded like he needed throat lozenge or something. He was struggling. Now, there was two plays that come to mind. One play, he's sitting there dancing around in the pocket, and Reese Davis is like, this is where he's great, so calm, so collected. And he takes like a 9-yard sack. And I'm like, calm and collected, sure. But right decision? Absolutely not. He had like 7.5 seconds. At that point, nobody's open. You got to get rid of it or take off or something. You don't just sit there and take that sack. And then there's another play where, in the middle of the play, Reese Davis is like, this is what he's great at, improvising. And then he tries to make a sidearm throw from his knee, and he throws an interception. And then he has another play where he runs across the field, throws it across his body way late, and airmails the whole team. Throws a pick six. And I'm like, but then they're still pushing how great he is. And I know people have bad games, don't get me wrong, but this is where it's like, why are we saying if this is the best we've got in the country? Sounds a lot like politics, Jeff. If this is the best we've got, we are having some bad football play.
Agreed.
And then the other, they say Jalen Milroe. I caught the very end of them losing to Vanderbilt. He's pretty much been inconsistent, I think, his whole career. I think he gets a lot of that, hidden by the fact that he plays for Alabama and they win anyway. And then every once in a while he has, a big time game. Travis Hunter, playing both ways. Like that's the guy that I would tell you is it's impressive. And yes, he's playing both ways, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think he has Heisman numbers, does he? I think he has good numbers.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But and then, it all fits in again. Like, so I'm watching these games, these P4 games, and I'm like, I'm sitting there thinking everybody's talking about Genty's schedule. Which defense is the one that's gonna shut him down? The Alabama defense that just got absolutely physically manhandled by Vandy, who, by the way, lost to Georgia State. And I know you can't do a he beat him, so they beat them scenario, but when you talk about getting physically whipped, you sure can. If Vandy physically whips an Alabama front seven, you don't think Boise's gonna? You don't think Genty's gonna run through those tackles? If Diego Pavio's running through tackles, you don't think Ashton Genty's gonna? Which defense? The Miami defense? My God, I'll tell you right now, if whoever the Group of 5 team gets the Miami Hurricanes, that's the one you want. If you're not going to get Notre Dame, you want them Hurricanes because they're beating them. Yeah, and no questions asked. They're beating them. Now, Alabama, Georgia, I think Boise, somebody like that could stick with them. Maybe could beat them, but they are beating Notre Dame or Miami. There's no doubt. And so I'm just confused as to which of these elite defenses, is going to stop Genty. He already did what he did to Oregon.
Well, who's going to stop Genty is they're black and white and they have stripes. Because if I see one more targeting call that changes the outcome of a game that is wildly inconsistent with another call in another game that we have no consistency.
Oh, Jeff, the calls are in the same game.
Oh, I know. Well, I'm talking about you get the UNLV roughing the passer targeting, which to me, it's on a screen. The quarterback's falling back, throwing it. His momentum's going that way anyway. So he looks like he falls hard, but like, so they take the targeting off, but keep the roughing the passer on. And then you get Mendoza for Cal, who's running in the Miami defender, clearly crown of the helmet, drops it, launches, knocks Mendoza out. And there was nothing. Both ACC crews, by the way. And I just don't understand.
That's what makes it so difficult. It's the inconsistency. The rule is it's whatever, but it's so subjective for these officials, and it seems at times that it goes to the team that you might think, the TV networks might want to win. Now, UNLV, we're going to talk about that game here in a second, had plenty of opportunity to win that game.
They did.
Without that call. And, Cal gave up 30 points in the fourth quarter. Bad officiating or not, like you can't do it. But you're right. It seems like that call, it's like when it's questionable or it's bang bang, they leave the call. They call it targeting. But then when it's like, this is the one that everybody agrees is like textbook targeting, that's the one that they don't call. And it's baffling because every time it's like that, it's such a momentum swinging penalty. Whether it happens in the first quarter or the fourth quarter, it is such a game changer. It's almost always on a 3rd and long, and it's typically you have a sack. So it's like your defense makes the plays, holds them for an entire series, and then you hand them a very gray area first down. You throw a player out of the game. I mean,
well, you're telling me that in that game between Cal and Miami, at that point Tennessee had lost, Bama had lost, USC had lost. There was one other one that went down. They send Missouri, and they send that to the crew, the ACC crew, because it goes to like their headquarters Charlotte. Or whatever.
Yeah.
You're telling me that there's not a guys, we can't have number 8 lose too. Yeah. You gotta make I'm starting to believe where there's smoke, there's fire. These conspiracy theories that's going on in our country right now. This is one.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you.
It happened.
And yeah, they get on there and they're like, like, hey, ESPN's on the horn, and we can't have Cal in our college football playoff, guys. We need Miami in there because people will watch Miami because people either love or hate Miami. We need Alabama in there. People love or they hate Alabama. And if they all lose, we might have to put Boise State in the top 10. And we can't have a group of 5 team in the top. Nothing big, 12 or lower, which, by the way, I'm going to make a case here. And I'm sorry, I'm going to become a strong Boise State fan the rest of the way, guys. I think Boise State's got a really good chance to actually be maybe not a top 4, but definitely a higher than 12. I think they do. I mean, they're at 17 in the AP right now. The AP voters and the media will say they don't play anybody else, but they got to play UNLV.
They have Oregon State too.
And potentially UNLV twice. And now they have the hype train of having Ashton Genty being a media darling. And let's not pretend that doesn't play into this whole thing.
What about his comments?
About
why he stayed? A+ human being.
Yeah, man. But to us, we're sitting there and it's like, well, yeah. I mean, seems pretty obvious, right? What did he say? The money's cool, money's good, but I don't know if you happen to have it. But he basically said he'll get his money later.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what he was saying is he's going to make his money in the NFL.
And he's wanting to finish what they started and what they've built at Boise for this season. and what a season they're having.
Money is great. Money is cool, but a legacy and impact that lasts forever. That's some damn Sandlot quotes right there, my friend.
Well, and yeah, Ashton, you're going to get a lot more money, my friend. You're going to get a lot more money from the NFL on a signing bonus than you probably would have gotten anywhere in NIL. Or should I say that you would have gotten promised anywhere in NIL, because let's not pretend you were going to get it wherever it was. But anyway, we got to talk about some football games. Friday night, a couple decent ones. Jack State 63-24 over Kennesaw State. I got to tell you, I think Jack State switching to Tyler Huff has maybe saved their season, because he's played pretty good. And what it is he's pretty dual threat. He's not a world beater from the pocket or anything like that, but I know it's Kennesaw State, 176 yards on the ground for Tyler Huff. They ran the ball. Trey Stewart, 134 yards, 384 rushing yards as a team for Jack State. That'll get it done. Hey, if you can't throw the ball, just dominate up front, man.
Well, that's the Rich Rod recipe for wins, right? Like, be effective in the pass game. You have almost 200 yards throwing the ball, but you got to have a quarterback that can really go and really run the offense efficiently, and he seems to be able to do that. So I agree with you. I think it's saved their season. It's now given them a chance. 1-0 in conference. They have everything they want right in front of them. So they just got to keep getting better, keep winning. Defense, I still worry about their defense. But you score 63 points, you're gonna be in it. You're gonna win more often than not.
Yep. Yeah, and then we had the Syracuse UNLV game. Man, I got to tell you, UNLV is must-watch TV. Whether you like them or hate them, or you think they're really good or not really good, you got to watch. And we were texting, if that game wasn't a picture of group of 5 teams losing to Power 4 teams in one little sequence, I don't know what is. I mean, you have the bad officiating, but you also just have, there was a sequence, right? I think 8 minutes left in the third quarter when you have a roughing the passer call, this was a bad one. This was dumb. This is not a smart play by the defender. This is the call is a good call. You just can't do it. And a lot of times with these, it's like a real light cheap shot. You know what I mean? It's not even like they're trying to hurt anybody. They're not even trying. It's just like, let me just kind of shove this guy. And unfortunately, you can't do that anymore. Do I think it's soft? Yeah. But that's the call. So they do that. Then their DB jumps the route on a hitch route or an out. So I can't remember what it was. And he should have been a pick six. Split second away from being a pick six. But instead, it goes right through him, right to the receiver. And then they miss a tackle, touchdown. And then UNLV comes back with the ball, and Hodge Malik Williams makes one of not many poor decisions. And he tries to do a kind of a little sidearm screen kind of thing. Running back should have caught it right through his hands, interception. And that little 3-4 play sequence halfway through the third quarter was like, that's how you lose those games. That right there. And then, I mean, they just
come back. They come back and they take the lead. They're up by 7.
I know.
Oh, man.
Well, they couldn't get off the field on 3rd and long. I mean, and I'm talking 3rd and long.
Night. Yeah.
They were really good. First down, I mean, Syracuse couldn't run the ball at all on first down. And then they'd get to 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15. And then, McCord, I mean, hell, they threw it 60-something times.
Yeah, you got to give him some credit. He can throw the ball. He's an Ohio State kid. He's played really, really good competition, and he didn't make very many mistakes. He had the pick that Jackson Woodard, that was one of them. But outside of that play, I think he maybe had 2 or 3 more. But that was it. He played a very clean game. They're a physical team, and at one point they figured out, look, we need to keep their offense off the field. We're going to slow it down. We're going to run the ball. and they were starting to have some success running the ball, which, I mean, ultimately that's part of the game. You know, I mean, I'm trying to find their time of possession here, what it was. I mean, it had to be 2-1. Like,
It felt like UNLV's
least.
defense was on the field the whole time.
Yeah, and you just hate it. You know, it's just they had it, man. UNLV had it. If they would have won, my 5-team parlay would have hit, and it would have been fantastic. And that was the one that missed.
Yeah, and I want to say two things. Jackson Woodard, that guy's special defensively.
Yep.
And then I do want to say, 2 weeks ago I got on here and I was talking about how it felt like Ricky White was loafing on the field, felt like he wasn't engaged. But man, the last 2 weeks now, his performance on offense, and then he had the block punt on Friday night, and then he had the other play that he would have blocked it, but the punter literally just took a sack. Punter was like, I can't even try to get this punt off, and he pulled it and took a sack, and that's where Ricky White is special, and I got to give him a shout out for that performance. He had a good day offensively, but especially out there on special teams, really had himself a day. But look, UNLV's still alive. They still got that Boise State. Again, they still got. They're still undefeated in the conference. They still got Boise State in 2 weeks. They're going to have Boise State again, potentially, in a conference championship game. So, but very, very much alive is a 2-loss playoff, or, 1 loss for sure. But 2 losses, I think, is still even very much alive because, again, you have to win the conference. So, it's going to come down to, if there's only one group of 5 team, it's going to come down to, are you the best of whatever 5 teams win that first weekend in December? So if you get an upset, or you get, somebody that's got 3 losses, or depending on how they feel about a Liberty or Conference USA, like, I think you very much got a chance.
And style matters too. You get teams that are putting up 71 points, Sprouse, at a game that I happen to be at. You start winning games like that on a regular basis. I know they have 2 losses, and people are complaining that they're in our top 5.
Why do people think Tulane is not good?
I don't know. I've seen him in person now, and I know it was against the Fighting Trent Dilfers, who they got some problems. But Tulane was better at every phase of the game, every position. They're physical. They're big. They can throw it now, which was one of the big questions. Mekhi Hughes, I saw him coming out of the locker room. I mean, that dude's built like a fire hydrant. I mean, just low to the ground, solid as a rock. Passes the test, Sprouse. He passes.
Well, I was going to ask you if you had my official Matt Sprouse Group of 5 guys glute calf check chart.
I have my little notebook.
I was wondering if you checked it off.
I did. I checked Hughes off and Pat Jenkins. We already knew that.
We knew that,
but I just had to double check. It's like 3-point check. You check him a couple times. Still got it. He was wrecking havoc on the O-line. Had a sack, and man, they just look fun. They look loose. They're having fun. I mean, ran a 100-yard kickoff back. Rayshon Pleasant. They're a good, well-coached team, and if they keep putting performances together like that, it's going to come down to them in Memphis. It looks like, unless Army can keep going.
Now, or Navy. Now, did you get any lip reading on the middle of the field post-game exchange from Trent Dilfer and John Summerall? If anybody didn't see that, it looked like Summerall was a little upset maybe that Dilfer took 2 timeouts, down by 30-something points and in the last drive of the game. And then, Summerall kind of put his arm around him. Look, what that was to me was 2 guys trying to, enforce their alpha on each other. And then because Summerall, you could tell, kind of pulled him in tight, kind of like a little squeeze, I'm sure. But then Dilfer with the old cheek slap,
really weird,
kind of face touch, and Coach Summerall did not like that.
It's really weird. Flex.
Definitely pulled his head away real quick, and then it seemed like they hashed it out for whatever or it was just an agree to disagree kind of deal.
That's how I
But-
took it. To me,
Yeah.
it seemed like after the caressing of the face by Dilfer to Summerall was just like, all right, bud. All right. Because Dilfer at that point was like, I don't know what he was saying. I couldn't hear
Well,
him.
Dilfer has a renowned temper. I mean, if you remember that clip of him at high school when he basically shoved that kid into the bench.
And when he went off on Gilstrap, our boy Gilstrap last year.
Go off. You know what,
Public
Trent Dilfer?
television.
Yeah, he sure did.
Uh,
and I don't, obviously the guy's, probably still in pretty good shape, looks like, and him and Summerall look like we're going to come to blows there for a minute. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know who I'd take in that. Dilfer's got a little something loose, I think.
I think I've been hitting the head too many times.
Well, he has.
But I do want to say, got to meet a good friend, Morgan, who was down there. And
there you go. I saw the picture.
Yeah, and that was awesome. Morgan's great to meet you. And he's actually in West Nashville. So I told him to come see me at the shop one day. He's in Murfreesboro. And Protective Stadium's an awesome stadium. They got that little downtown area. And before the game, that street was sectioned off, and they had music going. They had the restaurants. They had all these little tents. And it was just an awesome time. Got to spend some time with the Carson family from Troy. And it was just great to see them and see the Summeralls. And it was a great time. Our families were just kind of hanging out, got to go on the field and talk to some folks. And it was just awesome day. It was just so hot. Surprised. It was like 90 degrees and we're in October. I'm like, where's the fall weather? We're sweating.
Yeah, well,
shout out to the wife and kids
Al
for
Gore had it right,
battling
Jeff.
through. I'll stop.
Globe is
you stop right now.
Globe is warming, my friend. Yeah, that little area by Protective Stadium is pretty cool. You wonder what it would be like if UAB was rolling.
If they would have kept Brian Vincent.
Yeah, maybe.
They are not happy. Cool. I talked to some Blazer fans. They are not a happy bunch right now.
Well, again, it's you can't say the wrong things while losing. You if you're losing, you got to say all the right stuff. You got to do all the right things. It's like anything. If you're at your job and you're not performing, you can't also be doing things that are against a company's, culture or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, but if you're performing, if you're winning, well, you can get away with doing just about whatever you want. So, it's very, very, very interesting scenario. But let's talk about some of the games that we thought were, the top games going into the weekend. Navy keeps on rolling. Air Force did make a quarterback switch in this game. Now, not a whole lot of any more success. But Horvath for Navy went for 100 yards on the ground and over 100 on the ground, over 100 in the air again. So man, they keep on rolling for Navy, and Air Force is just not looking good at all. I mean, it's a sad state of affairs in Colorado Springs right now. Miami and Toledo got that win 30-20. This game wasn't as close as that final score was. It was 20-6. It was 30-13. And Miami just, again, Toledo's very good defensively, but Miami, again, just could not sustain a drive until very late. If you look at the box score, it looks like, Gabbert played, had a pretty decent game, but a lot of that was late in the fourth quarter because their drives, 3 and out, 4 plays and out, 5 plays, 6 plays, could not sustain anything in that game. And, Toledo comes away with another win.
And that's been Miami's problem all year is their defense will play solid. I mean, that's, when we previewed this game, it's what we said. I don't think Miami can score enough points. And shout out to Toledo getting it done. Tucker Gleason had a productive day. Did have the 2 interceptions. You like to see him improve on that. But Jerwan Newton, 8 catches, 127 yards and a touchdown. Hell of a performance. Toledo looks to be, we thought they lost a lot and they did, but I remember we also said, I'm not going to put it past Candle to be able to reload. And it seems like he has, and he's got these kids playing well.
Yeah, and I can't get over how wrong I was about Miami, and again, still I think defensively they're very good. They just I don't quite understand it. App State and Marshall, you weren't sure how App State was going to respond, with everything going on in their community. You never know if that has an effect or not, right? I mean, sometimes it's what a story, it's the Disney movie plot, you know what I mean? And they rally and play well and galvanize the community. And then other times, more realistic, it's just hurts and they're not able to really get over it. Now, whether or not that had anything to do with this game, I don't know. Marshall 52-27. Jeff, another 75-yard touchdown given up by App State's defense. Another one.
Yeah.
I mean, this is becoming a phenomenon. But Braylon Braxton, 3 touchdown passes, another 2 rushing. I'm telling you,
You've been saying
I like Marshall. I like Marshall quite a bit. And App State, it's not looking good in Boone right now. And then, speaking of, by the way, we'll probably, Jeff, we got to get together here this afternoon and figure out when we're going to cut off the donations.
Yeah, we'll do that this week and get that money out
on the GoFundMe and get it to the proper parties, which will be an organization that's going to give the most money to the people of Boone, and specifically to the people of that area. And that's what we've been we've had some phone calls with some people, had some emails back and forth, just trying to make sure we do right by everybody that donated, and then also do right by everybody that is affected. And then, man, hey, Group of 5 related-ish, Tampa, South Florida fans and that area looks like they're about to get hit with one. Now you never know, right? I mean, hurricanes come every year, and I hate to be the guy, but anytime one's going to hit Florida, I'm always like, oh, here we go, blown out of proportion. But this is what happens. They blow them all out of proportion.
And then when you get one,
and you normally don't get one, like they normally aren't nearly as bad as everybody says. And then so what happens is you have people that live in these communities that are like, buddy, they say this about every tropical depression that forms off the coast of Africa, that it's going to be the next Katrina or the next Andrew or whatever. And so nobody evacuates, nobody boards the house. I mean, I remember growing up, we used to have to put these stupid shutters, these like aluminum or whatever the hell they are, shutters. And like in Florida, most houses well, now everybody's got hurricane windows, but you used to have like this track, like a frame basically that had the bolts like sticking out, and you had to put these shutters on, screw them in, or before that you had plywood that you'd put over the windows. We used to have to do that. And now I don't think anybody even bothers, because most of the time nothing comes. And then when one does come, it's like the boy who cried wolf. I mean, and so I don't know, but this one they got out in the Gulf right now, just prayers for everybody's safety and belongings, that it doesn't get too bad again. We talked about it earlier, Jeff, but Louisiana Monroe, 21-19 over James Madison. First, James Madison, it's an interesting deal for them because, they squeak by Gardner-Webb, and then they hang 70 on North Carolina. What do you got over there?
I'm just just Twitter over the weekend, like before. I don't know. I'm a fan of James Madison. I really am. And I think Alonzo Barnett has shown he's a dynamic player. But man, their fan base is a sensitive bunch. And when this was going on, I was just reading the Twitter, it was going, and it was, oh man, it was just cracking me up, because it was like the world was ending.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I just thought it was funny. I was just laughing. Not that they lost, but more of the fan base going back and forth. And then we drop our poll, and I thought we were very gracious in where we put James Madison again at number 10, and they ain't happy about that.
Well, here's the thing about a poll. Can I just say this, Jeff? when you get to this point in the season, when multiple teams have losses to each other, you can't head to head. It matters, but it doesn't matter as much as you think, because otherwise you can't have everybody in the top 10. You can't have everybody who beat everybody. And so I don't know. Yeah, James Madison fans think we dropped them too low. Monroe fans are unhappy because they're behind James Madison. Sam Houston fans are mad because they're behind Texas State. Now, I will say, I think we may have underrated Sam Houston. I as far as what we've been saying, we like Sam Houston. Now, for me, they got beat badly by a not very good UCF team. And then it's one of those deals where I keep looking at that Texas State game thinking, like, is it the team that beat them by one, or is it the team that was down by 3 touchdowns? Yeah. And so it's one of those things that's difficult because you don't know what you're going to get, because to compare it to our friends in the Power Four and another a fan base that is in absolute shambles. You look at Alabama. What Alabama team is it? Is it the team that went up 28-0 on Georgia, or is it the team that let Georgia come back in a half, and then the team that for the last 6 quarters, Alabama has been a bad football team. I mean, really, but they're in shambles. And I'll tell you what, everybody, it was pretty comical to see ESPN and them talking about Nashville, Broadway's going to be electric with all the Vandy. But it's not. Nashville people are Tennessee and Alabama fans way before they're Vanderbilt fans. They were depressed. They were going to jump in the river with the goalpost. I mean, I think those people were more confused over the weekend than they've ever been, because you had what you had. Because a lot of our friends are in that area, of course, Jeff. And it's like you had everybody, all the Tennessee fans were laughing because Alabama lost to Vanderbilt, only to lose to Arkansas later in the night. And then the Bama fans just completely forget that they just lost to Vandy, and they're laughing at the Tennessee fans. I'm like, your two fan bases that live in the wrong city are I don't know. They're in distress. That's for sure. But anyway, we got some other ones. We had I want to finish on Monroe. That fumble recovery at the end of the half, that was your momentum swing, because James Madison's going in to be up. What were they going to be up right there? 17-7, I believe, at that point. And instead they go down 14-10. They do get the late field goal at the very end of the half, but that was your game to me, that little swing. Army and Tulsa, I'm going to tell you, Army and Navy, how do you decide who's better, who you think is better? Right now, I lean Army, and I'll tell you why. Blake Horvath at Navy has done phenomenal things. Bryson Daly at Army has done phenomenal things. Kanye Udo at Army, the running back, that to me, he is why I put Army slightly ahead of Navy, because they have they have a weapon that Navy doesn't, no pun intended, a weapon that Navy doesn't quite have. Because, again, Daly will run for over 100. He'll throw for over 100. So will Horvath. But Kanye Udo, 6 carries, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns. They roll over Tulsa.
Yeah, and you have that complementary piece to a good quarterback in a triple option offense. That makes all the difference in the world, because what might be a 5-yard run by that running back or a 6-yard running back, Udo's breaking that for big gains. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's just having that like 1-2 punch from your quarterback and your running back to be able to take it the distance.
Yeah, I agree. And by the way, I'm going to try to move quick, Jeff, because we're getting up close to time here. Temple and UConn. Did you see that game?
I did not.
Temple goes down to win this game. They go 10 plays, 71 yards. There's like 3:46 on the clock. They go 10 plays, 71 yards in about 3.5 minutes. 4th and goal from the 1. They're about to score a touchdown and win this thing, and they fumble, and UConn houses it. And even worse, when UConn scores and doesn't slide or just fall on the fumble, it hits the over. 48.5, I believe it was. Yeah. So now it's like, can you imagine your emotions? Let's say you have the under. It's 4th and 1. on the goal line. You're like, if they score, the over hits. If they don't score, and you stop them, and you're like, oh, thank God. And next thing you know, UConn's defender's running for 100 yards to hit the over. But yeah, so Temple heartbreaker there for them. Jeff Biff Poggi back.
They're
Charlotte
back.
49ers back. 55-24. Hassan Wilson, 15 carries, 164, 3 touchdowns. Charlotte ran for 311 as a team. This is the Biff. This is what you thought you were going to get with a Biff Poggi head coach. Physical, run game. Shout out to them, man, because they, along with UAB, were kind of having some fan back and forth a little bit. And you wanna solve that problem? Go put up 55 points and beat your in-state rival.
Yeah, huge performance by them. And I think the difference for me is I got to watch this game on the way back home from UAB in the car. And Deshaun Purdy, freshman quarterback, goes in and I thought he was very impressive. This is what this team's needed. You know Poggi wants to run the ball. He's going to be committed to that, but you got to have somebody effective at the quarterback position that can complete passes down the field. And he did that. He was athletic. He moved around. He slid in the pocket, threw a couple of nice post routes. And if he can continue to do this, their defense, I don't like that they gave up 24 points to ECU. I don't know if this offense is explosive enough to outscore people. But hell of a win, and I'm happy for the 49er fan base because they have a great fan base and they deserve some wins like this.
Well, and that's what you need to do with fans. You get the sellout, you get the hype around the game, and then you put together a performance like that. Guess who's coming back week after week?
Yep,
those fans. NIU beat UMass 34-20. NIU and really everybody in the MAC. There's not gonna be a whole lot of wins with style because of the way they play. But NIU got this done in the fourth quarter. They threw the ball in this game 10 times for 35 yards. And here we are talking about Army and Navy, Jeff.
Right.
We got to talk about NIU. They know their identity. They're not going to blow anybody out. Run the ball, control the clock, play good defense. Western Michigan squeaked one out against Ball State. And again, you could say this about every game, but Ball State wins this game if they don't turn the ball over 3 times. And then got to give a shout out, Hayden Wolf. How about this line? 26 of 29, 264, fantastic. 3 touchdowns, efficient. See, sometimes with these QBs, you don't need to throw it for 400 yards. You need the efficiency. You need the no interceptions is the more important line. And then Bowling Green and Akron, really a sloppy defensive kind of tough to watch football game, but Bowling Green squeaks out the win. Oh, Colorado State in the Mountain West, man. If they finally kind of get it going a little bit offensively, too little, too late. They had to come back. They came back from I can't remember what they were down, 24-10 or something like that late. Take the lead, and then it never fails, man. We were part of so many games like this where you're getting beat by 2 or 3 touchdowns and your offense finally figures it out in the second half. And the minute the offense figures it out, then the defense finally folds. It just never freaking fails, dude. It's the most frustrating thing about this game. But, Oregon State's a good ball club. But it was good to see Colorado State finally score some points, although it was in overtime to get to the 31 mark. So,
yeah, and this is what we wanted to see. We're like, at least the offense needs to be able to move the ball and score, and they finally did. And like you said, they just lose it at the end. But shout out Torrey Horton. 160 yards, 1 touchdown. They got the ground game going too, which preseason, that's what I was saying is like if they can run the ball, look out. Now they hadn't really been able to up until this game, but just want them to be good, man. We like that coaching staff, like their players, and we just want them to win.
Yep. Boise State we talked about already a little bit, 62-30 over Utah State. For Utah State, shout out to Jalen Royals. He had 211 yards receiving, but we know what Genty did. How about Maddox Madsen, though? 21 of 25, 256, 3 touchdowns.
Good day.
Very efficient. Again, not crazy, very efficient.
And with him, that's what you need from him. You have talent around you. You have the best running back in the country. Don't screw it up.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't mess up what you got going. And when in doubt, give him the ball.
That's it.
Just get it to him one way or another. That Nevada San Jose State game was incredible. You catch that game. First of all, Emmett Brown benched in this game. I don't know if he was banged up or what. I didn't notice that part, but I gotta tell you, shout out Nick Nash. This guy's been at San Jose State for several years. He's played every freaking position on offense for them. He's played running back basically in 22. He's played receiver. He's played quarterback for them. And then how about he gets the game-winning touchdown pass on a trick play from the wide receiver position. So that was a great game. That was a very entertaining game, especially at the end there. Nevada, I think, is a lot better. Well, we know Nevada's respectable. They've lost some close ones. They've played some really good teams, but San Jose State trying to keep themselves in the top tier of that conference.
4-1, 2-0 in conference. They keep stringing together wins, no matter how they look. As long as you get that W, that's all that matters. And shout out to, I can't ever pronounce his name, that coaching staff. Ken
Niumatalolo.
Hell of a job by him coming in. I mean, you had a bare cupboard was outside of Nick Nash, and you've done a great job. So shout out to him and the players getting it done.
Yeah, and then San Diego State gets a win over Hawaii. Marquez Cooper is about all they have offensively. He's the only person that carried the ball. You know that? They had I think 34 quote unquote rushing attempts. 4 of them were the quarterback. Marquez Cooper, 30 carries, 109 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's an old school game.
It is.
Back in the day, 30 carries for 100 yards was like a good running back performance.
And shout out to the Irish Cannon, true freshman, Danny O'Neal. He's playing well. He's not turning it over, which is what you want. And usually with a freshman quarterback, you have a lot of mistakes, young mistakes, but he's not really doing that. So he's giving his team a chance to win ball games. And, you got Marquez Cooper. Just keep handing him the ball. He's going to make stuff happen.
Yeah. And then go into the Sun Belt, Jeff. Do we have any Old Dominion fans in here? Or they don't have a huge Twitter engaging fan base, but we've got to check on these people. Last year, 11 of the 13 games, including the bowl game that they played, were settled by 1 score or less. This year, already 4 of 5 games, 1 score or less. This needs to be studied because it doesn't matter who they play. It's going to be a 1-score game. It does not matter. And right now, this year, they're losing most of those games.
That's right.
Last year, they kind of split a bunch of them. This year, they're losing them, but Coastal gets that win, 45-37. Coastal, we talked about it before that game. We said, it feels like they haven't played in a long time. And they came out offensively, at least, and put on a show.
Like Vasco's performance as well. He seems to be the guy for this offense. Physically has all the tools. Mentally had a good performance. If they can continue to do this, don't like that their defense is giving up that many points, especially against Old Dominion, because I thought the defense was the strength of this team.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, shout out to the Chanticleer Steeple. Your boys are in the hunt.
Yeah, they sure are. They absolutely are. South Alabama and Arkansas State. For Arkansas State, Jalen Rayner was the reason this offseason people were starting to get high on Arkansas State. Saturday, we got good Jalen Rayner, 30 of 39, 345 yards. To be honest, I'm still not sure about either one of those teams.
Yep.
I still don't know. Arkansas State now is what, 3-2? And then South, they have the dominant win over App State. They played LSU. You can't really look into that a ton. Who they lose to early?
North Texas,
Ohio, or yeah, and it's just kind of a weird for both of them, inconsistent, and that's been South for a while now. By the way, so not sure about either one of those teams, but Arkansas State, that's a big win.
Know who I am sure about? Jamal Pritchett. Dude is special on the outside. He's been my favorite receiver in the group of 5, honestly, to watch this year. And, 2 touchdown performance, 7 catches, 137 yards. I said it when we previewed the game. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Which one are you going to get? You never know with South Alabama. And that's the most frustrating thing because they have so much talent on offense specifically, and they put up 16 points. It's just weird.
Yeah, it's a baffling phenomenon. And then last one from the Sun Belt. The Ragin' Cajuns now 4-1. Their only loss is an 8-point loss to Tulane. Terry, I know you don't think they're very good. See, Terry, I think I do think he's using reverse psychology because he's the only person on Twitter that will be like, we're ranked too high. We're not that good. Everybody else, good God. I mean, if they ain't number one, it's too low. 4-1, 8-point loss to Tulane. We give a lot of love to offense on this show, Jeff. You're a quarterback guy. I'm an O-line guy. How about Cameron Whitfield though? 4 sacks on the weekend. I mean, that's defensively is what won this game for them.
We've been talking about their defensive line and preseason we're very high on it, getting pressure. He finally showed up, and I mean, that's incredible. 4 sacks in a game. Big time performance by Whitfield.
This just came to mind as I'm talking about defensive linemen and sacks and all that. Did you see your boy Max Crosby yesterday talking to Bo Nix?
I love Max Crosby. He also post game, look, it's hard to be a Las Vegas Raiders fan. I mean, it has been 3 decades almost. 2002 is the last time we were in the Super Bowl. But Max Crosby post game called out Michael Lombardi, I believe, is who he was referring to on Pat McAfee's show. It was like, just go search Max Crosby post game, and he's got a great clip about basically telling talking heads in the media to shut their mouth and stop speaking for him. He's like, dude, he pulls up, or no, he's shirtless. He's like, I got this shit tatted on my body, dude. I want to be a Raider for life. Like, stop saying that, because I'm not playing, that what's going on in my head and in this locker room, because you don't. He was like, you were a GM for 1 year. He was like, called him out. It was great.
Mm.
But yeah,
who's Michael Lombardi? Who is he, a media guy?
I guess I didn't even really look him up. I guess maybe he was a GM for 1 year. And
what about, this is a complete shifting of gears here. What about the NFLPA coming out talking about all the sketchy media members they don't want them in the locker room anymore? Have you see that?
No, I didn't.
Well, basically the NFLPA said like the players feel uncomfortable with a lot of the male media members in the locker room post game. Like, I do remember being a little kid and like you'd have, they'd be interviewing, they'd be in a towel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, this is like a little weird. Then you get older and you've been around locker rooms. It's whatever at this point, but yeah. And then a couple of the former players like called out media members by name. And that, I mean, I could be inappropriate, but they were calling them.
Yeah, I got you.
And
it's a dicey situation.
It is. And to be honest with you, like, I get it. You want that raw emotion, that post game, like you're still, but you're getting it on
when
the
they're
field.
Dressed.
Yeah, let them take a shower or make them do media
in a separate room.
Like, yeah, man, some of this stuff is wild. And then you have in the college level, then of course you see the video, the Alabama player having a meltdown on the field, and then the Tennessee player that shoved the Arkansas fan.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that are saying fans shouldn't be on the field, and like, okay, like I get it. But also, man, if you ask anybody, any high school kid or anybody that wants to play football, that's the game. That's the kind of game you want to play in. Like, you want to play in the game. You don't want it to be on the wrong end of it, but you want to be part of a game where the fans rush. I mean, that's the pinnacle of our sport. It's an upset like that, and the fans rush the field. And now, fans, right? If you get in a player's face, You got every right for that player to show you that he's an elite athlete and you are not. You got every right. But if the fan's just running on the field, man, and I don't know.
He said anything. The kid said anything.
Didn't look like it. And then his poor girlfriend just she got the worst end of it.
Yeah, she might have a concussion.
She got to go to the medical tent immediately.
Yeah, put her in the tent. She hit her head, it looked like, on the turf.
Went flying, feet up in the air. I mean,
yeah, it's
just like, and not to make it a laughing matter, but it just also shows you, like, those are the kind of fans that are saying about these guys, we suck, blah blah blah. These guys, we're so soft to this and that. And that player it literally was like a kind of a one-hand shove, and two people went flying. Anyway, we got a ball game tomorrow night, Jeff.
You sure do.
We're here. We've reached the point. 50-something straight days of football now. Well, it started on Thursday. But now we got college football Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. This is what we live for. And we are going to crank it up with a very exciting matchup. And that is the Panthers of FIU coming off a win, by the way, going to Lynchburg to play Liberty on a Tuesday night. Look, for FIU, you got to try to slow down the run. You got to play discipline. You're going to have to play, again, we talk about it on every single episode, it seems like. You can't turn it over. You can't have dumb penalties. And if you do that, you have a chance to be in this game. Then you probably need to hope Liberty does one of those things, dumb penalties, turnovers, and then you got a chance to win. For Liberty, you just got to play smart and you got to play your game. Tuesday night, looking forward to see Lynchburg rocking on a Tuesday night to show everybody else in Conference USA how to pack a stadium on a weeknight. Please do that. But I think Liberty's going to handle business here.
I agree with you. If FIU's defense can show up, we've seen them at times this year look really, really good, and then other times look poor. I think Liberty's got too much firepower, to be honest. The long layoff for me is interesting. I think it's hard to keep your team up and engaged. We've seen that time after time where teams come off of a long weekend, they just come out a little flat. But both these teams are coming off a long week, so I think Liberty has the firepower. I think they're too good, and they understand at this point if they have any shot of making the playoff, they better start turning it on quick. So I think Liberty handles it easily.
Yeah, they got to win. I don't think they can afford to not win by 3 or 4 touchdowns the rest of the way, and that includes the Western Kentuckys and the Sam Houstons at the top of this conference. Jeff, I imagine we have a couple voicemails to finish the show off.
We do.
Hey, guys, keep calling this hotline, 615-900-4286. Leave your voicemail, 2-3-minute limit. Talk your trash. Give us your predictions. Tell us where we're wrong. Look, if you're mad that I put the wrong James Madison logo in the graphic, I promise. No, dude, their logo, the way the formatting works on that particular graphic is their logo's too long. And if you shrink it, it's going to be tiny. Every logo in that graphic is cut off a little bit, but theirs is the only one that's like so long ways and that's why I was using the Bulldog logo from 10 years ago. But that was a cardinal sin. So now I gave the people what they wanted and I put the correct logo in there. Now that red line, I'm not sure how the hell that got there. Probably because I tried to make an edit or something and I missed it. But anyway, I'm not doing that on purpose to James. I'm trying to do the one that they want. But it doesn't fit properly. So you either get one that says JM, or I can move it over and have it just say MU, or you can get a Bulldog. I thought the Bulldog looked cool. I thought it was like a little, throwback for, I don't know. Hey man, sorry, Jeff. I can't do everything perfect around here.
Sorry, Mr. God, Perfect.
I'm sure they're like, get your graphic guy. Yeah. Hey, you're looking right at the graphic guy. You're looking at Jeff, or you're looking at the editor. You're looking at everybody. Okay. Jeez.
Doing our best,
Sorry.
guys. All right, we're putting our best performance out there week in and week out.
Try to do it. We don't get bye weeks. We're full pads every day. It seems like
That's it.
my God, dude,
Sensitive.
leave me
bunch.
alone while I'm trying to enjoy a private island vacation with my family. But dude, I gotta tell you, that place, Fripp Island, I'd never heard of it before we made this trip, but it literally is it's literally like a private membership only, like two golf courses, which I didn't get to play. I wish I would have. But they have, so obviously you're surrounded by water, not a lot of beach. I will say that if you go, a lot of rocks, a lot of rocky area. So the beach it is a golf cart community, as they call it. So yes, I had my own golf cart as I drove around the island, but they got like wild deer all over the place, like everywhere, hundreds. And they're like almost domesticated. Like they're not scared of the cars or the golf cart. I'm telling you, dude, like we get in there and I'm talking bucks now, big ass buck. I mean, the whole deal. And I'm not saying 10 points, but some big bucks. And they're just like chilling out. I'm sitting on the green, sitting in people's front yards. So then you drive through at night and they're literally like laying down in people's yards, not hiding, not running away. You get right up to them. And then also, I think I said this on Friday, you get in the Airbnb and they got signs and magnets and stickers everywhere that say, don't keep small children and pets away from any of the water, keep whatever away from lagoons and stuff like that. Now, it's South Carolina, so I wouldn't have anticipated this. Now, I know in Florida, if there's water, you can almost assume there's an alligator. That's kind of the rule. If there's water, there's an alligator. Well, I didn't think that was the case in South Carolina, but there's signs everywhere. Well, sure enough, we're coming back, and on the green of a golf course, there was a big ass alligator. I mean, and I'm telling you, I told you this. I've seen some gators. A big ass alligator just sitting there. It looked like one of those ones you see on, Instagram, like walking across the street like a freaking dinosaur. So they got them there. Probably all them deer keeps that food chain alive.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry. Fripp Island, look it up. South Carolina place. Nice. I will say this on a serious note, a lot of freaking trees down on the whole drive. I mean, the whole Interstate 16, I-75, we got on a little bit. I mean, trees all down the side, both sides of the road. So, I mean, that's quite a bit away from where they got the severe damage. So you can just tell it was bad. Anyway, sorry. Let's get to the voicemails, Jeff.
Group of five guys. Morning, gentlemen. Chuck T here. It's about 7:30 Sunday morning. Wife and kids are still asleep. Have a little chance to regroup with my thoughts. Calendar turns to October. Carnage across the college football landscape yesterday. I want to chat a little bit about the JMU Dukes. Well, actually, you know what? First of all, let's give credit where credit's due. Warhawks, they wanted it. You could tell in the trenches. You could tell on the sidelines. Just tip of the cap. They played well. They played on a mission. And, they got that coach down there has got those people believing, and hope they can keep that train going, because that was an impressive job. But now let's get to the Dukes. That game was lost in the trenches. I think O-line was just absolute Swiss cheese, getting manhandled. And, I'm not so sure that they, JMU got up on them quick, 10-0, about halfway through the first quarter, and I think might have been someone they thought it was the ULM of old, and they could just take a vacation and walk through the rest of the game. And they might have been peaking a little bit at next Thursday's big matchup against Coastal, but you got to want it. You got to want it every week. And I think they got complacent. I think they played undisciplined, a little lazy, and that's what happens. But season's still in front. It was a game in the West, so East is still open, but got to tighten up. Dumb penalties, pre-snap penalties, just no good. No good. Not JMU football. But anyway, y'all have a good one, and take care. Go group of five guys. Go Dukes. All right.
I got to say, that is the most rational,
I was going to say,
well
Jeff,
thought James Madison fan that we may have come across.
No, they're out there.
I'm just saying
Was
that
that
we've
a
come
first time?
across
That
so
was a
far.
first time call from him, Chuck.
Maybe. I feel like he's called maybe one
Sounded
other
familiar.
time. Yeah. Appreciate it, Chuck. I think you're
He's
spot
right.
on.
Yeah, he's right. And they did. I think that happens too. You get up on somebody that you're supposed to beat by a lot. You get up real quick, and you kind of think, okay,
It's just
we're
going
gonna
to
dominate this team, and then you kind of relax, take your foot off the gas, and I think that's what happened. As far as the East goes, at this point, I think you're looking at Georgia Southern, Marshall, James Madison.
I mean,
Right?
Coastal's in there.
Coastal. I'm sorry, Coastal. I keep forgetting about y'all. I really do.
I mean, the East is wide open. I mean, it's going to come down to who shows up. I mean, I think
and this is
all
what
of them have a chance.
And this is what we said in the preseason about this conference, and this is why it hurts their playoff chances. Is more than likely you're not going to see one of those teams beat everybody. You're going to see them all beat each other, and that's when I think you're going to have 2-3 losses from these teams. And so that's why, look, I think Georgia Southern's a really good team, but if you have, you got bludgeoned by Ole Miss and you got beat by Boise State, so now you have to win out to even sniff it. So I think that's where the Sun Belt gets hurt. Your non-conference is rough, and then your in-conference is good enough to where you guys all beat each other.
Can I say something, Sprouse?
Oh,
that's
you absolutely
not out
can.
of the realm of possibilities, and I'm looking this up just to make sure I'm not way off here. No, it's not that bad.
What are you gonna say?
Where's standings? Sorry, I'm trying to get to their schedule. West loss, East loss. That hurts. I mean, App still has a chance.
They do. I knew that's what you were gonna say. Well, and here's the thing, though. Look at last year. This is kind of what they did.
I know. I don't know. I don't like the way they played all year, just to be quite frank. But yeah, it's still wide open. It's anybody's ball game. It's anybody's conference still. Let's get to the next one.
Hey, Sprouse, good news. You don't have to worry about what kind of a JMU logo to put in the top whatever. They just lost to Monroe. They shouldn't even be ranked anymore. Good job, Warhawks. Those chest-thumping, no-rated, wherever they are, Dukes, have gone down. It's a good day in college football. Keep up the great work.
Who was that?
I don't know. I didn't leave a name.
Dang it. It kind of sounded like Chad from the Tigbit. Chad Blassie. But I don't
know. It may have been him.
Sounded like him. You never know. Sometimes, I don't know. But yeah, well, we already talked about the logo scenario. And it's
still wrong.
It's a very sensitive subject for me. I will figure it out. You know what? This is what happens. Okay. You know how we always talk about this is what happens when non-football people are in charge of football things, aka a committee. This is what happens when you have a couple of meatheads in charge of arts and crafts. I can't figure it out, dude. And I'm not willing to give up the duties. So, you know what? A little trial and error. If you go back and look at any kind of graphic or picture that we posted, a long way. I mean, sometimes I sit there and I think, that looks pretty damn professional. And then a James Madison fan gets a hold of it. It just really shoots me down. Oh, man.
Well, let's keep it rolling. Let's check in with our good friend Josh Bevel.
Group of 5 guys, Josh Bevel here. It is Sunday morning. Man, what a freaking week of college football. Absolutely unbelievable. A lot of the big schools went down, but, I'll kind of keep it in the group of 5. Mainly being the Sun Belt. Man, JMU went down. That one shocked me. I mean, you're hanging at, 100 points a game, it feels like, and then you go to Monroe and you lose. JMU's got no easy test on Thursday. They got Coastal Carolina on Thursday night. Speaking of Coastal, they won 45-37 versus ODU. I think y'all said it a whole bunch on the podcast. ODU plays up or down to talent. It's usually how it goes, but Coastal's a damn good football team. We can't sleep on Coastal this year, honestly. Troy looks bad. I don't know what's going on there. I know they're a third-string quarterback, but they look bad. Arkansas State sneaks one away versus South Al. Lafayette wins by 10 versus Southern Miss. Then Marshall beat App State. Looking ahead, Georgia Southern's got Marshall here next Saturday, and it's going to be a test. Paulson Stadium's going to be rocking. 8 p.m. ball game. It's a whiteout. First ever whiteout in school history, I'm pretty sure. So, or at least at home. But, the Eagles, we got to stop the run. That's our number one concern. We got to stop the run. We got to stop the run. But I think we'll do it. We got to dominate the trenches, stop the run. Marshall coming on Saturday. Hail Southern.
Appreciate it, Josh. We got some big Sunbelt matchups this week.
Yeah, that Marshall Georgia Southern game is going to be electric. Really would probably go, but I have my family's coming to visit, the old Sprouse family, who I have not seen in almost a year, Jeff.
I know the feeling.
But Josh, you better be careful about saying Lafayette like that.
And South
I
Al.
mean, he's doing that. I think Josh, he knows. He
knows.
But I'm sitting here looking at this thing, and I'm thinking we might see a Sunbelt championship in Lafayette. And if that happens, Jeff, I can finally get a new intro to this podcast, because when I say, Jeff, have you had it at a tailgate in Lafayette? You say you can be like, yeah, I have.
Yeah.
Boudin.
Andy Gator. Ever had one?
Little Andy Gator, little Boudin. It'll be, if it's a championship game, you'll have the freaking roux from the deep fried turkey the previous week, just saved for a week, just for the gumbo and jambalaya and all that stuff. I mean, holy cow.
That happens.
We
Terry
need
Johnson, we need you. We need you to fly the West Coast. Come out.
Who do we need?
Terry Johnson.
Yeah, he better be. Surely he would go.
He's out west. He's out west now. I don't know.
So long as he doesn't have any naval duties, he would go.
Expensive flight. All right, let's get to our last two.
Hey, boys. She's right from Twitter. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say about this game. It's driving me crazy. So I'm going to flush it like I have Clemson and South Alabama and move on. Appreciate all the support, obviously, for the high country. Thanks for everything that you're doing for folks up there. Keep praying and doing everything you can do for the folks in Western North Carolina. They still need it. They're going to need it for a long, long time. Thanks.
Oh, Stu, I'm sorry, bud. I hate hearing those calls.
I do too. Well, and I think, to try and be as rational as I can here, I think you have now excusable performances, right? Almost the rest of the way. Remember now, Tulane, when they had the storm hit, 3-4 years ago, they went like 2-10 that year. And the very next year, they go and beat USC in the Cotton Bowl. Now, can you forgive this game against Marshall and kind of chalk it up to storms and distractions? Yeah. Can you also hold your players and staff accountable for the previous weeks? Yeah, absolutely you can. So while the excuses are there now, they weren't there before. So as far as, when you're talking about you're going to have all the people that want to get rid of the coaching staff and all that, like from here on out, man, it's going to be tough to use that against them. But the first couple of weeks, you absolutely can use them. So anyway.
All right, let's finish it up.
Group of 5 guys, Terry Johnson calling, man, and happy again for another Cajuns win. My hope is
don't sound happy.
Increasing. First time we've beaten Southern Miss since 1993. So I was born in 93. So it's crazy. Everybody wants, all the Southern Miss fans want Will Hall fired, and I mean, I can understand, but I mean, hey, we should have beat them by like 4 touchdowns. So they put up a good fight off a bye week, and we came out with the win. So any Cajuns win is great, but finally beating Southern Miss, getting over that hump is great. Happy for Dez, happy for the team. JMU gets humbled finally by the Warhawks of Monroe. Shout out to Coach Vincent, and shout out to UAB for not believing in him and hiring a high school coach in Trent Dilfer at UAB. That athletic director over at UAB is looking like a real genius right now. So shout out to ULM for shutting up the Warhawks, and hey, maybe they, hopefully they got humbled like Liberty did when they played ULM a few years back. Me and Zach Gray were laughing about that earlier this season. A great Group of 5 win by Georgia State to Alabama. Well, Georgia State beating Vanderbilt, who beat Alabama. So that's great. Alabama fans are going crazy. Tennessee fans are going crazy. It's just great to see college football cannibalize itself, which makes it so much fun. And this is what makes college football so much fun. And, the SEC wants to separate from everybody else, but they have to take, these other Power 4 teams with them, and now they're going to be scared of perennial powerhouse Vanderbilt going along with them. Oh, man, it's just great to see. Got App coming to town next week, and, God bless App, what they're going through. I know it's going to be a tough game regardless. Hopefully we can get the wins. Happy for Dez, happy for this team, happy for college football. Feel like this Boise State is going to get that playoff spot since JMU isn't undefeated anymore. But hey, the Army and Navy right around the corner. So, who knows what's going to happen. God bless you. But also, UNLV got cheated. Got absolutely cheated. Horrible. God bless Super 5. God bless Super 5, guys. Go Cajuns.
Appreciate you, Terry.
On that UNLV call, I tweeted about this. If he pump fakes that's what you're going to start seeing. It's going to be like the fake slide.
Yeah.
Because now a QB can pump fake, and I mean, it's so bang bang that a player's going to have to run right past him, and then you're going to get free plays out of it. I just, again, the rule is the rule. I get it, but man, they're such game changing calls, and it's, to me, if it's a penalty that's happening like, in the confines of the whistle, it can't be that freaking momentum changing. It can't be, because it's not it's not intentional stuff. Now, to me, I think you penalize post whistle stuff more than you penalize something like that. Yeah. A late shove or any of that. I don't know, man. It's just it
sucks.
I hate it. But again, UNLV must watch. Somebody in the comments said, "What's Liberty need? Who's got to lose?" I think a lot of people got to lose. I think you probably would have to see Boise lose twice.
Yeah. Without the app game, with, like it or not, the performance against Oregon last year.
Yeah.
It's just a lot to overcome. And just the general view of Conference USA as a whole.
Yep.
You need a lot of help.
Yep. Now, if they can somehow squeeze in a non-conference game, somebody's willing to, I don't know who still would be tough. I mean, it would have to be, I think even with the App State game, you need to have at minimum a 2-loss team for Liberty to jump them. But a 1-loss conference champion is going to be ranked ahead of Liberty, no matter, even if it's in the MAC.
Yeah.
Even if it's a Toledo right now. So I don't know. I think the Sun Belt, I think it will, unfortunately for the Sun Belt, they'll beat each other. So I don't think they'll be in it. the MAC, I think if Toledo keeps rolling, they got a real strong argument. The American, I think you probably would need Memphis to lose again, and probably Tulane to lose again, even. And in the Mountain West, I think Boise and UNLV would have to lose. But so anyway, it'll all work itself out. It always does. That all we got voicemail wise, Jeff?
That's it.
Hey, look, appreciate you guys listening, watching, joining us every morning. We'll be back Wednesday morning with a recap of the Liberty FIU game and picks and previews of the Wednesday and Thursday games. I hope you guys have a great Monday and have a great week. We're out of here.